Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight's event is centered around the topic of gluten, and I'll give you a little background on myself. I've been gluten-free for 4 years. My wife is gluten-free for 4 years, and we have a 3-year-old who's also been gluten-free since the beginning. The reason why we're gluten-free in my household is that upon further study of what gluten is, and for our own health reasons, we chose to eliminate that from our diet. And it was a trade-off, because going gluten-free is not something that the people who own Carl's Jr. and McDonald's make very easy for you. It's a challenge, okay? It takes extra work, it's a learning process, but like all things, out of that hard work, something good comes from that. And it's about lowering the inflammation in your body and improving your digestion, and how those two simple things will benefit every cellular process in your whole body. So today's talk is all about gluten, and I'm going to start this topic today with a video that I think does a really good job of capturing the current state of the gluten craze in our country.
People are very interested in food nowadays. People who don't even cook watch cooking shows, and everyone has an opinion on what you should and shouldn't be putting into your body. Lately, I don't know if it's just here in LA, but people are very anti-gluten, which bothers me because I'm very pro-pizza, and you can't be pro-pizza and anti-gluten. So now some people can't eat gluten for medical reasons, which that I get. It annoys me, but I get it. But a lot of people here don't eat gluten because someone in their yoga class told them not to. I keep asking people about this, and I started to wonder how many of these people even know what gluten is. So we decided to find out. Gluten, in case you didn't know, and I didn't know this, is a mixture of 2 proteins found in wheat and some other natural grains. But here in LA, it's comparable to Satanism. So we sent a camera crew out to a popular exercise spot right up the street from us to ask people who are gluten-free a simple question: what is gluten? What is this thing you will not eat? So we're going to meet a person who doesn't eat gluten, and together we're going to guess if they know what gluten is. Are you ready? What else do you have to know? Let's begin.
Do you maintain a gluten-free diet?
I do indeed.
And what is gluten?
Okay, does he know what gluten is? No. Well, everyone says no.
Well, as far as for me, how it affects my body,
But what is gluten?
This is pretty sad because I don't know.
We're 0 for 1. But I hate it, and I know. Next.
Do you maintain a gluten-free diet?
I do.
What is gluten?
All right, does this shirtless gentleman know it? Yes, okay.
Gluten's in bread. It's a flour derivative, wheat, things like that.
It's a flour derivative?
Right? It's like bread, things like that, pastries.
It's in those things?
Yeah, it's in those things.
But what is it exactly?
Gluten is it's like a grain, right?
I like when he coughed. It's like, I'm sorry, I have some in my throat. Excuse me. All right, next.
Do you maintain a gluten-free diet?
Yeah, I try to the best of my ability, yeah.
What is gluten?
Does she know what gluten is? Oh.
It's the wheat in products such as like bread or pastas, rice.
Why do you avoid it?
It makes you fat. I mean, like I said, I haven't researched it to the fullest. I have a girlfriend from Russia. She actually just got me into it. So she's reading a book about it.
Oh, okay. Russians know about gluten and Putin. They know about both of those things. All right, we have one more.
Do you maintain a gluten-free diet?
I do. I actually don't eat rye, wheat, oat, bran, dairy, nuts, or eggs.
Wow. What is gluten?
Does he know? Does Jewish John Hamm know what gluten is?
It is part, I believe, of the wheat that I really don't know. It's in rye, wheat, oat, and bran. So that's what I say.
I gotta go pick my kids up. Leave me alone. Maybe gluten doesn't exist.
Okay, by the end of tonight, you will all know the answer to that question. So when someone puts a microphone in front of you and asks you, what is gluten? You will be able to tell them. All right, let's get back into what gluten is. So before I go in more into gluten, I'm always looking at news articles coming out about how our healthcare system is working, because we're all here tonight because it doesn't work that great. That's my assumption. And I go to work every day to help people figure out how to get healthy despite the system that we have. Now, I'm not saying I want to live where we don't have emergency medical care. We're very good at that. But managing these chronic issues, we fall short. And that's not just my opinion. This is a report that came out a couple weeks ago from a think tank called the Commonwealth Fund. And they ranked countries in the world, rich countries, on their health care. We're dead last. So you can see we're at the very bottom of this chart on overall health care. And this is sort of the environment that we all are trying to navigate. We're trying to figure out how to be healthy in a system that's really not that great. And coming into places like this to get educated is the key to figuring it out, because it's all about information. So there's a lot of GMO products on our shelves, not in this store, but in stores all across our country. And this was a study in France that basically showed they gave these lab animals GMO corn, and that's the kind of tumors and cancers that they developed. Breast tumors, liver, kidney damage, multiple organs. Okay? So all GMO is a sneaky trick to create this plant that you can spray a very expensive poison on and it won't die. And when you do that to living things, whatever you're spraying gets the poison on it, and then when you turn that into food, the poison's in the food. So one small benefit of being someone who doesn't eat gluten, if this is the only reason you did it for, you would not be exposing yourself to Roundup. Not nearly as much. Okay, so we have the United Nations putting out reports saying that the way we fix agriculture and feed everyone is we go organic. It's the only way to prevent the production of like super weeds and super bugs. So in a way, by going gluten-free, I mean, you're not buying the products from the GMO industry, because so there's organic wheat, but most gluten in our society is GMO, okay? So even the United Nations has picked up on this and said, look, if we want to feed the world, the way we do it is we go with organic agriculture. The idea that you just, have 100,000 square miles of corn and everything gets sprayed with the same herbicide and everybody eats the same food doesn't really solve the problem. So it's the diversity of crops. It's good for the soil. It's good for us. So first things first, when we talk about gluten, so Jimmy Kimmel goes out and finds a whole bunch of people who are just experiencing the benefits of going gluten-free, but they don't really know why. Some of the people he interviewed were like, oh, I feel a lot better, but that's not our question. The question is why? What is gluten? Well, understanding what gluten is gives you more information, and then you'll understand more what the why is. So all gluten is a protein in wheat, barley, rye, triticale, and spelt. It's just a protein in the seed, no more, no less.